Well, welcome back, everyone. This is the next episode of Ryan Homestead Project Skoolie Edition. In this particular episode, it's a follow-on to what I said I was going to do in the last one, and that was get right into testing the water infrastructure and make sure everything worked. I did not get to do it as quick as I wanted. A lot of things came up, a lot of issues at work, issues with the weather. No excuses, just couldn't get to the test and make sure that everything worked. Had some delays, so this is the next episode. It is actually Sunday, October 26th, and with that said, let's go see what happens. Alright, the first thing that I do want to show you is that I got my regulator here on the input water. Definitely don't need it for my well. I tried to increase the pressure, but that's it. That's all I'm getting out of my well is about 38 psi from the well into the bus. That's fine, it'll work, but that's all I'm getting. But the regulator is working. It's showing what the pressure going in is, and so I got these potable water hoses. They come in, they provide water into the regulator. I got this little adapter here that helps make the connection, because it would have been impossible to get this on up here with the gauge and everything else. So I put this on here, and that helps out quite a bit. So at this point, I have 40 psi more or less going into the bus from my house. I did put a sediment filter on the output of the house. I have some issues with my well with sediment, so I didn't want that getting into my system inside the bus, so I put a sediment filter on the output of the house coming into the hose. On the inside, I've got the filter system there for all the water coming in, regardless of source, and then I've got my reverse osmosis filtering. So I got a lot of filters on the water. But so now let's go inside and let's walk through bringing this up and see what happens. Okay, here is my shore water input right here. It's coming down to this check valve. It feeds over here, so I've got water sitting here, and it's stopping here because this check valve prevents it from going any further. This is going to the pump. The water comes over to here and is hitting this valve right here. The water is off, so it's not going any further than there. So I'm going to turn this on. Turn that on, and now I have water that is in this T right here, from this shutoff valve to this shutoff valve. In all fairness, I did do a somewhat of a simple dry run on this. I've already flushed out all my filters and all of that, so in that regard, I do kind of know what to expect. But I did have some things, and when we get to them, I'll show you what they are. So right now, this is off, so I don't have any water pressure going into my filter systems. I'm going to turn that on. Water is now on, and my filter system is pressurized. One of the things that I did have previously was I had a small leak right here. I had to disconnect all of this. I had to pull the fitting out that was in there because it was like this one with as an elbow down. I had to put one that was straight out so that I could tighten it up more and make a good connection. So I had to redo all of this from this valve up to here. All of this was replaced so that I could change out that fitting. So that was problem number one that I found, was I did have a leak right here. All right, so now I've got pressurized water, and it's stopping at this valve, and it's stopping at this valve. As I said, I already flushed my my tank, so I know this works. If I turn that valve on, water will come out of here. So that was successful. So the next big step is if I turn this valve on right here, this actually sends pressurized water to the entire bus. So when I do that, it will send water down here. It'll come on this side of the valve. It'll come down to this T right here, come over here. This is the cold water side valve for my shower. This is the hot water side, but when I turn it on, I'll have pressure up to that point, And then if I go to the other side, which I'll do in a minute after I turn the valve on, I'll have pressurized water through the floor right here over to the other side, and I'll show you where the valves are. So right now I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, bring that up. So now I have pressurized water through there. It's going up to that shutoff valve, and now let's go over to the other side. Going through the floor, across here, coming in under here, and then it hits all of this stuff. So comes up right here. I've got that shutoff valve. Kind of hard to see because of the light, but I have that shutoff valve right there. This shutoff valve cuts off water back to my my vanity, and then the water tees off over there, comes up and hits this shutoff valve right here. This shutoff valve is for my kitchen sink. I put a cap on this and this because I know that there'll be water there. This valve right here is what actually feeds into the reverse osmosis. So if I turn that on, momentarily I should start seeing water flowing out of that. No, actually I have to turn this one on. Whoa, my caps. All right, there's a problem. I need to tighten up my caps. I'll come back to that, get those tightened up. I forgot that I only hand tighten them, so I need to come back with a wrench and get those tight. But anyway, as you can see, if I turn that on, water starts flowing. Right now, what I can show you though, instead of that, is let's go ahead and turn on the cold water going back to the vanity. Alright, now cold water is on back to the vanity. So let's go to the vanity, which is fully plumbed, and see if we have water. Here we are in the vanity, looking under here. I don't see any leaks. I see no problems. Everything seems to be good. So if I come up top here, I turn on the cold water. I have water coming out of my vanity. Look at that, y'all. That makes me happy. All right, so we got cold water to the vanity. That is definitely working, and that is off of pressurized water from the house. Now, the next big thing to check, which I have not tested, is my shower. Well, I did test it. That was one of my delays. So I'm going to turn on the valve for the shower. You can hear it pressurizing the lines. Come over here, check all of these fittings that are in here. I have no leaks over here, and primarily no leaks here, here, and here, because that's the only place that has water right now. So if I go to the other side now, and here's the big if. Grab my bucket. The big if is, does it give me water? So if and right now I only have cold, so if I go for whatever reason, I don't have cold water again. The reason I say this, guys, is that the balance valve on my first faucet was bad. I had the exact same indications. I'm getting some water, but not much, and I only get it through the wand. Well, that didn't work. I'm not getting water through here, which is the exact same reason why I had to replace the balance valve to start with. This is the second balance valve, and for the most part, I'm getting pretty much the exact same indications. What I can show you though is I will go turn on the hot water and show you what it looks like when the hot water's on. We'll see what happens with that. I'll be right back. All right, hot water is on. Don't see any leaks coming from anywhere. Come around here and check the shower. Pick this up again. And we'll see what happens with this. Now, in all fairness, guys, that is actually from the hot water side going through the cold water side. That is the hot water side, putting out water on the hot water side. Turn it like this. You should see it coming out of the other one. There it is. There's the one side. Hot, I have water. Cold, I have water. But all of that water is coming from my hot water feed. If I go turn off the hot water feed, you'll see that I do not have cold water. So I'll be right back to show you that. So here I am. You can see cold water's on, hot water's on. Turn hot water off. Now we'll go back to the faucet and see what happens. All right, here we go. Let's try it again. No cold water. No water on that. No water on the cold or hot side at all. With the cold water on and hot water off. That sucks. That's twice. Okay, back again. I do want to show you that if I turn on the hot water side on this one over here, we can check hot water going back to the vanity. So hot water is on that side.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
I do want to also show you that this valve right here is open, so it's running cold water through the hot water heater, back out again and out to everything. So water is flowing through the hot water heater. As a matter of fact, I had power applied to it. As soon as I put water on it, it started trying to engage, and as a result I had to disconnect power because I don't have any propane on it, so it was airing out. So let's go to the vanity, and I'll show you that I do have hot water on the vanity and it works as advertised. Alright, here I am in the vanity. If I turn the hot water on this side, I have water coming out of here. Works as planned. Excellent. Turn on the cold water. I have water. Turn on both. I have water. Water on both sides. So at least one thing worked. I don't have any leaks. I had basically the leak here that I told you about that I have taken care of. One of the other things that I found was at the top side of my valve, I forgot to tighten down that PEX clamp, so I had a leak there when I first put water on, but I got that taken care of as well. So I'm pretty happy when you consider the complexity of this plumbing system and how many different things I had to do to or how many PEX clamps, pipes, fittings, everything else. I only had one clamp that I forgot to tighten down and one leak on the filter out of all of this. So that makes me happy. The shower thing, that's faulty. I mean, the first balance valve was faulty out of the box. Now this one just got the replacement in 2 days ago, put it in, and now it's faulty as well. So I'm not very happy. I think I'm going to return it and get something different, which sucks because I'm going to have to redo the wall based on whatever the new one is. One of the other things that I do want to show you now, though, is I did test my gravity fill and my pressure water fill for my tanks. They work well, as you can see. I don't know if you can. It is kind of hard to see, but you see that red line right there? Let me move this so you can. There's a little red line right there, right above my finger. That was the water level of the tank. It's dropped a little bit because I've been testing and using it and stuff, but both of my water tanks are full. One of the things that I did find on my my whole balance tube thing and that whole process is that this tank over here has to get above halfway full before any water starts showing up on the other tank. The other tank doesn't really start filling up very quickly until this gets to the point where air cannot escape, and then it starts pressurizing the tank. Once it does that, then it starts pushing the water more, and that one fills up faster until they balance, at which point both sides fill up, and then you got to shut it off. But water tanks are full. One of the things that I did find out, and I don't know if you remember when I did the video and explained it, but I was trying to be in a hurry, and I put my senders on thinking I had them in the right place, and I made a statement that I hope I don't regret it. Well, I regret it. I screwed them up. I'll show you here in a second exactly what I mean by that. All right, here I am at my sea level tank monitor. Battery power 13.4. Freshwater tank is at 83. Galley tank is at 88. Those things should be somewhere around 98 or something higher than that. And they're not the same. That's because the cinders are in the wrong place. The highest I could ever get either tank was 88, and that was it. So I ordered 2 more cinders. I got one in. They didn't put the other one in the box, so I'm trying to get with them to figure out what I got to do to get that other cinder, and I'll get them back in and get them in the right place so that they register correctly. But that's where all of that is. So what I want to do right now is change gears. I want to turn off the water from the house, and then we'll do the exact same thing and test the system with the pump and the tank water. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back real quick. I do want to let you know that I have the water pressure off from the house, but I'm not going to be able to do anything with the reverse osmosis system. Those caps on those valves are not working. They're not sealing. They're leaking pretty bad. They were tight. And the challenge that I have is without those caps working, you don't get enough water pressure into the reverse osmosis system for it to do its thing. My son helped me when we flushed these filters, and what we had to do is we actually had to more or less hold our finger over the end of a supply line that I had on the valve until we got through the point where we had successfully flushed the filters. But it took forever to get those things filled up. So until I can figure out another way to fix that, I'm not going to be able to do anything with the reverse osmosis. But I can tell you that we did flush the filters. We did put pressure on the system, and there were no leaks on it. So it is good to go in that regard. The biggest challenge is just capping off those valves. They're not going anywhere other than reverse osmosis and hot water for the kitchen sink. So I don't know. Maybe that'll be my my priority is to get my countertop in here and get my sink in and get my faucet on so I can terminate those and actually be able to do something with it. But right now, that's it. So let's move over to the other side and let me show you what we got going on. I'm going to go ahead and turn the cold water off on the shower because I know it doesn't work. So right now, the water pressure from the outside is no longer there. So I've got water pressure here. So what I need to do right now is I need to open up this valve right here. And this is the output of the pump, or actually the input to the pump and the accumulator. This is the valve that puts that water out to the rest of the bus. So right now, everything is pressurized from being on the house water first. So what I can do right now is I can go engage the pump, turn the pump on. It may run, it may not. And then the only place that we can actually test water flow and test the pump is to actually go to the vanity, and we will do that, and I will show you that I get water whether I'm on shore water or off of my tanks, because any water that comes out of this system at this point will be pressurized and output from this pump, and you should be able to hear it kick on. So let's go back to the vanity, turn the water on there, and see what happens. First thing I need to do though is I do need to turn the pump on. Green light, pump is on, pump has power. Freshwater 83, galley 88. Let's go turn on the vanity and see what we got going on. Turn on the vanity, cold water. I have cold water. Lines are pressurized. In a second you should hear the pump kick on in the background. It does take a minute, which I like. It doesn't run as soon as you turn the water on. It's drained. There it is. Pump is on. Pumping water into the system. The water that we are getting out right now is coming from my freshwater tanks. Now if I turn it off, it will run almost instantaneously. It shut back off because it repressurized and refilled the accumulator tank. Alright, so there's a rundown on my water distribution system. I got it done. The shower valve is not my problem from the perspective of anything that I did with water distribution. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I'm going to have to do something to terminate those valves so I can get my reverse osmosis working the way that it should. But I've got water in this bus. Everything is working. Nothing is leaking. I'm going to leave it on. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the pump, and I'm going to put it back on the house and let the house keep it pressurized, and we'll see what happens. So that's where we're at right now on testing and validating the water distribution system. I hope it was informative. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please like, please subscribe. Let me know what you think. That's where it's at right now. If I can make some progress on either the reverse osmosis or the shower pretty quickly, I'll hold off on releasing this and get that included. Well, as a follow-up to my shower head stuff, I had an idea for some troubleshooting. I wanted to make absolutely sure that it wasn't me or my plumbing. So what I've done is I've got this hose, which is basically the water input to the shower head. And I'm going to go turn on the cold water, and we're going to make sure that we actually have good water pressure coming out of here, just so I can eliminate any possibility that it might be my plumbing. So let's go see what happens. Yeah, folks, as you can see, it's not me. I got good water pressure coming out of that line. So here's the connection that connects to the shower head, and I just elbowed it around so it would go into the bucket down there on the floor. Turned on the cold water over there at the valve that I showed you earlier, just to make sure that there's nothing wrong on my side. And there ain't. I got good water pressure going in, so that eliminates that. I do have good hot water pressure. I figured I would have it on the cold water side too, but I just wanted to check. Maybe there was a problem with the fitting. It has to be with the shower head, so I continue to try to figure it out. Based on everything that I've seen, I'm not going to get a shower head anytime soon. Not that we'll reasonably replace this in the setup that I have. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up and get it out so you can see where I'm at and what I got done. So thank you for being here. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll be back soon.